iPhone or an Android phone, download Yelp. Just try this little augmented reality app. You hold up the phone, you point it around, and it will show you, say if you're looking for cafes, it'll actually kind of show you, oh, there's one about that far down that street, what it is. Okay, this idea just superimposes information on the camera display. It kind of looks like it's actually doing computer vision, but it isn't. It just uses the compass and the GPS in the phone to identify where you are, where you're pointing the camera, and then it just puts the data on the display. But that's the beginning of an augmented reality revolution, where at any point we're getting situational data. There's another great application which is done in the UK called Nearest Tube. It does the same thing. You hold up your phone, pan around, and it'll tell you down which street is the nearest subway station, or tube station, as they say in the UK. Of course, you may have seen applications like red laser on the iPhone, reading barcodes. Google Goggles. Google Goggles not only reads barcodes, it actually will read the cover of a book. Amazon has an app that does the same thing. Even more impressive, I actually saw the unreleased version, which Google decided not to release for privacy reasons, that does face recognition. And they held up camera, pointed at me, and then turned the phone around and said, "That's Tim Oreilly." Pretty scary stuff, right? But that is the world that we are heading for. Where there are vast databases, where there are billions of pictures online, many of them tagged and labeled, and there are algorithms that allow those databases to identify you from a picture. And there are applications, not yet, again, because of the privacy repercussions. Google decided not to release that, and they admitted that when they released it at Google I/O. But the capability is there. The future is here. It's just not evenly distributed yet. So, story number 4. You guys remember when there was the earthquake in Haiti? This is from OpenStreetMap, fabulous open mapping project. They were integrated with a whole bunch of other services where they were putting onto maps the location of collapsed buildings, where the people needed help. Massive volunteer effort. There was a group of people working with this, and also with a platform called Ushahidi. Ushahidi is an SMS-based reporting mechanism where people using the phone can collect messages for various purposes. It was originally developed for political monitoring, but was used to great effect in Haiti, used by all the relief agencies. It's a hacker project out of Kenya. Sorry, out of, I think, is it Kenya? I apologize if it's not. But certainly out of Africa. But here's this idea that crowdsourcing actually includes the use of humans as sensors. But the devices themselves can act as sensors without human intervention. So there's an app, again, for iPhone called CabSense that comes from a company called Sense Networks. And they trace various kinds of GPS data from phones, and they identify at a particular hour of day or night what's your best corner to catch a cab on, right? Based on historical patterns of people getting in cabs. Scary stuff. Here's another one. A company I'm invested in the UK called Amy, which actually it stands for Avoiding Mass Extinctions Engine. It's basically a back end for tracking carbon and climate data and various things like that. But they're managing, through web services, smart meter data from about 4 or 5 million homes in the UK. And one of the things that they discovered is that you don't actually need to have detailed reporting from an individual device to be able to tell what devices are in the house. We used to think the Internet of Things meant your refrigerator had an IP address. But it turns out just by monitoring the electricity meter, you can identify what model of dishwasher, what model of refrigerator, what model of vacuum cleaner people have in their house, because each one of them has a unique energy signature when it gets turned on. And you can, just by using machine learning against the spikes in the graph of the power that is drawn, so you can identify what not only that they have in the refrigerator, but what make and model, or even what year. Okay, so we're moving to a world in which every device generates data, in which every action creates information shadows on the net. Super important to think about this. What does it mean? What does it mean for privacy? What does it mean for the capabilities of your app? Next story. You guys have probably maybe seen the Google voice search on iPhone. If you haven't, try it. It's actually pretty lousy still, but so was Windows 1.0. Just remember that. And so was Tim Berners-Lee's first web browser. But this is a revolutionary app. I had to leave my phone backstage so it wouldn't interfere with the voice, or I would be doing this demo properly. But yeah, you pick up your phone, you put it to your ear. First of all, the phone notices that you did this. We're using the motion sensor, and goes into speech recognition mode. And then you say pizza. What happens? Pretty amazing. The first thing is that Google's speech recognition engine is able to disambiguate that you said pizza and not piece of, or pizza as in the Leaning Tower of Pisa, because there's this other big database that Google has that you see as Google suggests. Right? They know what people are most likely to search for. And this actually helps them to be better with speech recognition. Still not perfect, still not anywhere near where it needs to be, but quite remarkable that it exists at all. And guess what? Next thing is it returns to you the nearest pizza places. Okay, it knows where the phone is, right? And so the 3 nearest pizza places to where we are right now are Pazzia on 337 3rd Street, California Pizza Kitchen at 53 3rd Street, and Blondie's on 63 Powell. Right? Think about that. That's an amazing feat. That your phone can know these things. Or really, is it your phone that knows them? Or is it rather that Google knows them in cooperation with your phone? So you have an application running on a mobile device, and yes, it's driven by sensors. The microphone is a sensor. The touch screen is a sensor. Motion and proximity. And GPS or cell tower triangulation for location. But it's so important to understand that it's also depending on these cooperating cloud data services. It's so easy to get sucked into the front end of the phone and say, oh, it's cool, it's whizzy, it's touch screen. But that application doesn't work without that big data back end. So those context-sensitive filters then that get applied, that make sense out of that massive amount of data. You have millions of people searching for things at the same time in slightly different places. And imagine, come out with magically accurate results in real time, or very close to real time. So next story. If you have an Android phone, you probably know that turn-by-turn navigation on Android is free. Turn-by-turn is the kind of stuff you get from GPS, where it just talks to you and says, okay, in 100 feet, turn right.